669. Okay, and you have the answer, I think, at the back of your book. Whoops, that's P, not D. Okay, and then you've got AB. And then you've got CD over here. Whoops, that's not really a diameter. It sort of looks like one. Okay, now the given part is that AB is congruent to CD. And you're to prove that arc AB is congruent to arc CD, and you're proving a theorem. You're proving theorem 10.3, which tells us that if the chords are equal, the arcs are equal. So we can't use that one. Okay, we're going to have to go about it a different way. So we're going to mark what we know. It's so important for you to learn to do this. Mark what you know. You know that AB is congruent to CD. Okay, look, and then we're trying to prove, mark what we're trying to prove in red, that AB is congruent to CD, the arcs. Okay, so basically we're thinking, all right, what do we need to prove in order to prove that? Well, if we can prove these two angles are congruent, the angles are congruent, then the arcs across from them have to be congruent, because they're central angles, and the central angles are equal to the arcs. And so we've got triangles. Whenever we have triangles, we want to say, is there any way to prove those two triangles are congruent? Well, we have some radii here. And radii are always congruent. Okay, so to prove this thing, got our statements and our reasons. And the first one is going to be, of course, that AB is congruent to CD, and you should know why that is. Okay, now we want to prove these two triangles are congruent. We know that all of these are congruent because they're radii. So we're going to say AP, that's not a P. AP is congruent to BP, is congruent to CP, oops, CP is congruent to DP. And that's because they're all radii, and all radii are, what did I say a few minutes ago? You're going to have to figure that one out. Okay, so now we can prove that triangle DPC is congruent to what triangle? By what congruence postulate or theorem? Remember, you've got side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, 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 side, and hypotenuse leg. Okay, one of those, and that can't be a hypotenuse leg because we don't have any right triangles, so we don't have any hypotenuse, hypoteni. Okay, now that we've proven that those two triangles are congruent, we can prove that there are two angles in there that are congruent. What two angles do we care about proving are congruent? And why are they congruent? Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. If you've forgotten what Kapukattuk means, thought it would be a good idea at that point. Okay, and since these central angles are congruent, then we can prove what we're trying to prove, which is, and you can finish that up, and the reason would be because the central angles are congruent, then the angles must be congruent. Okay, and that's proof number 27 on page 669. It's not beautiful, but it's legible, I think. Okay, remember you can always stop and rewind.